it. Dianna Russini of The Athletic joins us now, which makes me very happy. It's a toxic week here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be the all-toxic game on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. I'm a little disappointed that you're not making the trip in.
I know. First of all, hi, guys.
Hello.
Miss you. You guys have done tremendous work this past week. I've listened to a lot of the shows. I've watched a lot of the clips. I know a lot of people in football have watched a lot of those clips.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's good.
It's not good for
great.
Lucas.
but I got to tell you, just like listening a little bit before I came on, I can tell you guys are a little tired. Yeah, a little tired. It's been a week.
It has been a week, but you know what this is? It's not just this week, Dianna. It's 4 years of this crap at this point. You know, it wears on, like the losing wears on the locker room. It is also wearing us down.
The Monday night late press conference, I'm sure, was such a thrill for you guys to stay up late, to having to do that. And obviously, I'm on East Coast time here, and so at the time I was watching it as well, like. It's really late. I'm old now. I can't be staying up this late. But it's been a lot, and there's definitely been tons of reaction around the league about this move, because I don't think I can just tell you, just talking to people, decision makers, coaches, people, no one thought that Brian Callahan would get fired this week. No one's surprised Brian Callahan got fired. They're just surprised he got fired now, because the thought had always been, let's get through this season here. Let's not give Cam Ward so much change, in just his first year here. But obviously, the decision came down, and now the search begins for who would be the next and right coach for the Tennessee Titans.
Which is ridiculous, because it's week 7 and we still have 11 more weeks, 11 more games of this nonsense to go. So let's start from there, though, Dianna. The way that this situation is viewed from people that you talk to around the league, because I mean, she does this, right? She swoops down out of the sky and she drops the axe. The organization didn't necessarily seem ready or prepared necessarily for the decision to come down on Monday afternoon when it did. I think we had like 5 minutes left in the show when it happened. Adam Schefter's on McAfee 15 minutes before saying he doesn't expect any coaches to be fired today. Like, how rare is that, where the information or the behavior is so erratic that even the people that traffic in the information are caught off guard?
Yeah, I know that doesn't happen to Adam a lot. To his credit, though, he did a good job. He still kind of shelved it, though, because he's like, at this point, because he knows, right? He's been doing this so long. We all have been doing it long enough to know that it doesn't matter what the general manager, the assistant general manager, the head of football ops, the assistant coach, the trainer, whoever everyone's talking to, it doesn't matter what they think at the end of the day. The owners own the team. And this ownership group has been very volatile over the last few years, and reacts to feelings and performances. And when they're not happy, they just make the move. And we've seen just so much turnover. And I think the part of this that's so hard for fans to understand, and maybe they do, is there are so many coaches in football who would love to work for the Tennessee Titans. But unfortunately, the way that they're seeing this, and they're seeing a type of owner that they'd have to work for, there's reluctance. Now, look, do I think that once this coaching search really goes in full gear, do I think that they're going to get turned down by guys that are trying to get either back to the coaching role or maybe their first time? No. But maybe, right? Like, if you're Arthur Smith and you're a big name and you've had experience in Tennessee, you would probably want to coach there, but you know too much. Matt Nagy is somebody that's a name that's going to be buzzing for the next 3 months, 4 months, just because of his relation with Mike Borgonzi. Nagy doesn't want to go through what he went through in Chicago. He literally changed as a human being in that experience. And we've all heard these stories where coaches go through these opportunities, these jobs, and it affects them in such a strong way. And Chicago affected Matt Nagy. And he and I have had multiple conversations over the years since then about his growth and reflection. And he wants the right situation here. He's not going to want to jump into something worried that an owner's just going to react really quickly. So just this weekend too, Buck, I never looked at this as like Brian Callahan versus Mike Vrabel either. You know, I know that was the storyline headed into the week before Brian got fired. I don't even really think it's the Titans versus Mike Vrabel either. I just think that's stupid. It's a waste of time. It's there. It's petty. I look at it as the Tennessee Titans should actually look across the field at the team that was dysfunctional the last few years, have the quarterback like the Titans do, and went and found the right leader, went and found the right coach. It just happens to be the guy that it didn't work out with you. But that doesn't mean Vrabel doesn't represent some of the good that you should be looking for in this next hire. And they sort of have the 1-2 punch there in New England, because you got Mike being the leader of the men, establishing the identity of the Tennessee Titans, but you've also got Josh McDaniel. So you've got that OC brain, that guy that's developing the young quarterback that you're going to want for Cam Ward. So I think for Tennessee, it's almost like I dare them not to make this weekend about the frustrations and anger and disappointment and pettiness, and make it more about like, maybe we can learn from them. Maybe this is something we need to think about instead of making the hot OC, hire first-time head coach because we've got Cam Ward. So I'm interested to see how they're going to react to all this.
Yes, famously, the toxic one in the relationship is the one that's going to be prone to growth and development in this situation, rather than going out and finding the hot young thing to replace their ex with. Dianna Russini, senior NFL insider for The Athletic, host of the Scoop City podcast, of course, where you can hear her and James Palmer and Chase Daniel. I really like the addition of James with the two of you. I think you guys have done a really good job with that as well. Here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
So that whole concept about attractiveness of a job, Dianna, is a discussion that's going to be had around here for a while. And we had that discussion when the Titans were replacing Rand Carthon. And conventional wisdom told us that don't know if it's a situation that the best candidates would want to work under a president of football ops that actually has final say over the roster and the amount of turnover. Yet still, Mike Borgonzi took this job. So in your experience, and you've already talked a little bit about it, what do coaches really prioritize when it comes to gauging the attractive nature of a head coaching position, when it comes to personnel and balancing the stuff at the top? That I figure, Dianna, coaches that are confident in their abilities believe they can come in and win enough to stave off some of the stuff that comes down from the top, because that stuff typically comes down because the wins aren't coming fast enough.
Yeah, I don't think it takes an insider's knowledge to share. I think it's common sense. It's always quarterback. The smart coaches know it's so hard to win if you don't have it. We've seen this story over and over. But if you've got the guy that is such a big part of the sale of that team, that is going to lure in a coach, because you got a shot at least. You have an opportunity. You just look at this last coaching cycle, right? Like Ben Johnson had tons of opportunity. He had the Raiders. He had the Jags. He turned down the Jets, the Bears, obviously. And the quarterback position was important. The same thing with Vrabel. He was another one who had tons of opportunity. And even that year before, if you remember, he met with the Chargers after Tennessee fired him. And I mean, the idea of working with Justin Herbert, how do you not, it almost like, does it matter what else is going on? I think that's actually what hurt the Jets in regards to Vrabel for them being able to land him. As much as he was aware about that ownership group, I remember talking to the Jets, and like, that was like the most unbelievable interview that I'd heard, like a post, like, oh my God, we love him. He whatever he wants. Like, that was kind of like the energy. And I know he liked him. I saw him this summer at training camp. We were talking about it. Like, I don't know what that says about coach, but the quarterback thing, back to the important part about this, it's quarterback, right? So Tennessee's got the quarterback, so that's great. I would say stuff on the bottom, that's not as important, but I know when people talk about Nashville, they've said this to me multiple times, even players have when we've talked during free agency. People want to live there because obviously of all the reasons why you two live there. And it's growing and it's cool, it's trendy, it's got a little bit of a lot of culture and music, all the fun stuff that comes with Nashville. But it's just not going to be easy to sell the Titans if there isn't a little bit of an about face, or at least a facelift here we're the right, where Bergonzi and Brinker can communicate like, look, we've got control here. We can make sure that you feel good and you're getting what you want without this owner stepping in. It's an owner that's not even around. And I think that's the wildest part about all this, right? Like, I'm right here in New York. You guys know this, and we're New Jersey, right? John Mara is there every day. He's in the building. He's there. Does that mean he's prying into everything? No, but he has an understanding of what's happening on the day to day. If you're not there, you don't know. And I think that's what's made this really hard for some of these coaches that have been fired. It's how do you get it if you're not really involved? So I still think people are going to want, I can tell you after Brian got fired, I had assistant coaches texting like, oh man, that'd be the dream job. So maybe some are willing to take that risk.
Dianna Russini with us on 104.5 The Zone. Who, just for you, and this isn't you reporting anything, we understand that. Who's the first name that popped into your head when you saw that Brian Callahan was let go?
Like who would be the next coach?
Right.
Or just like, what did I think of when Brian got fired?
No, on potential replacement for Brian Callahan.
We could do both after that.
I thought Matt Nagy.
Yeah, we could do both. Matt Nagy. Okay.
Yeah. I thought of Buck. No, I thought of Kaharski, just like typing away.
How about that, bleep, Dianna? He's sitting there. Where's Amy? Where is she? Why isn't she here in the middle of the press conference?
I miss you
Batman
guys
voice.
so much. I can't explain to you how different you guys are than any other media corps.
So stupid.
You're so stupid, but you're so fun, and you guys are also relentless. Like I've said that to people in New York, even in Philly, where first of all, Philly's scary. Like, I'm scared in Philly when I go there. And I have no reason. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my God. But you guys are good. You guys don't quit. But look, I actually think it's easy to be tough in the media when the team isn't good. So let's see what happens when they get good, if they do.
Lucas accuses me of that very often. Because
you should see him. You should see the switch up, Dianna, when he walks into the facility after saying they peed down their leg. And, oh, Jeff, hello, Jeff. Oh, you were so good on Sunday, Jeff.
That one tried to crush my skull. I'm a little scared of that one.
I know. You got to show up, though. That's rule number one in reporting. If you're gonna put out information or say something bad about people, you got to show up the next day. And I've had to do it, unfortunately, many of times, and it's not fun. But you do it because it's what we do. And I know, Buck, because I've been friends with you and I've listened to you long enough. You are not the type covering a team wanting to see all the drama. You actually, I remember being around you when they went to the AFC Championship game. You guys were a treat. Everyone was so happy. Business was booming, especially because it was so unexpected. Those were the good old days. I still remember those as the good old days. Just that it was such a fun year. And it could be magical if they're able to find the right people to turn this thing around, because I do think there's so much good. But Matt Nagy is the name I immediately thought of in terms of replacement, only because I know Bergonzi and him are so close. And it makes sense. People like to go with comfort, what they know. They don't want to speak different languages. They don't want to come from different schools. It's not that it's not a very sophisticated process usually. But look, Matt Nagy, Lou Anarumo, Anthony Weaver, Arthur Smith, Joe Brady. These are the names, Robert Saleh. These are the names that I think you're going to hear a lot of over the next few months here in terms of who Tennessee's going to at least sit down with and try to figure out who's going to clean this all up.
Subscribe to the Scoop City podcast wherever you get your podcast. Robert, if we could do, Dianna, the courtesy of dropping the link to the YouTube channel as well in our YouTube live stream for people who have not already subscribed to Scoop City so they can watch along as well. To the other side of this coin, on the other sideline at this point, it's going to be weird to see Mike Vrabel and literally all of the other Titans coaches, former Titans players on the opposing sideline this coming weekend, at least for a lot of people around here. You did a training camp tour. You went to a lot of different places. New England was one of them. The conversation around them in the summer, or at least before the season started, was, it's going to take a minute. They're spending a ton in free agency because they don't have players, and rarely do those things translate to immediate success. But, Dianna, they have the quarterback that seems to be the difference maker here because, again, we've talked about this on the show this week. We talked about it with Cosell this morning on our podcast that we do with Greg, the idea that the conversation is about Vrabel, but the game is really about Drake May.
Yeah. All right, a couple things to unpack there. First of all, just going back to the summer and being around those guys and talking to them about what they were building. They tend to be, that whole coaching staff tends to be a little doom and gloom, as you recall. So while I think they had belief that Drake was going to be a good player, I walked away from being around them like, this is going to be a while before they can buy.
But come on, you guys didn't have a conversation.
Because I saw so much of the same stuff that they were doing in Tennessee in terms of what they were trying to build. And that was identity, right? Because that's something we criticized the Titans since Vrabel left, was what the heck are they? New England, I figured it would take at least a season. They know what they are already. We're less than 50 days into this season. And these guys are so bought into what Vrabel is doing. And I think he's changed as well. Obviously, you learn from experiences, you learn from failure. I was texting with a player on the Patriots on Monday, and he's like, this is huge. I'm like, what's huge? What are you talking about? He's like, this game. I'm like, for who? Like, really? Like the Titans? He's like, no, if it's big for coach, it's big for us. You know? And it's like, man, like these guys are in. Like, they understand it, and the Harold Landry, element to it. Spillane, granted, Spillane left in a great fashion because he went and got paid. But I just think that, look, it is hard to win 3 games on the road, right? This would be their third. I think what's going to help them is that these players are going to go out there and give everything they got, just knowing that Vrabel spent this entire week telling them none of this matters, that it's interesting, but it's not important, that no one's buying into this team. He's got the whole thing going there. So I think that's going to give them the edge. By the way, I don't actually think the New England Patriots are that great.
Right.
They've got a lot of issues still. Their run game is terrible. They definitely have no depth on defense. I just think the fact that they've been able to find it fast is what's been the most impressive part of this.
So it would be a fascinating thing to see Mike McCoy do something that Brian Callahan was incapable of doing, especially on a short turnaround this week. They're talking about incorporating. Mike Borgonzi referenced it at the press conference that they had talked to Mike McCoy before making him the interim officially about implementing some changes here with the offense. So I would expect it to be a competitive game. It's just this offense has been horrendous here in Tennessee, and that's ultimately what got Brian Callahan fired. Now, he's the only one to get got in this season so far. Where else are things tenuous? Because there are other bad teams. There are other embattled coaches. The Titans are fortunate that the New York Jets exist.
Yeah, they are fortunate. But the New York Jets are on a different path from the way they believe in Aaron Glenn, and they're hoping that this gets better. Even talking to some teams that played them this year, because I've been trying to figure out, what's wrong with them? Like, what is it? What are you seeing when you're facing them? And it's funny, a lot of teams have said they're actually not as bad as it seems. There are obviously a lot of self-inflicted wounds there. It's Justin Fields, right? He's the problem. So I don't think Aaron Glenn is going to get fired, because I don't think the Jets want to go over another change. I mean, they wouldn't even move on from Robert Saleh after, the season before they fired him, when they probably should have, right? Like, I think we could all make that argument at the time and all the reporting we were doing that it just wasn't working. And then they did it, just like Tennessee, right? Just a few games in. Miami's obvious. I mean, look at Miami. I mean, what is that? You don't even need to talk to people. They're going to the podium and basically admitting that people are not going to meetings.
What's Tua doing there, by the way?
I think there's lack of awareness. I think there's lack of belief. I think there's lack of leadership. I think there's cultural problems. I think it's a mess. And it's unfortunate because there's talent there. There's good people there. There's good coaches there. And they were good at some point. There was something cooking there, and it turned sour. And they're just kind of airing it out too much. And so obviously all eyes are going to be on what they decide to do there. I'm curious if they're also going to move on from Chris Greer, the general manager. That's something I think a lot of people around the league are keeping an eye on. But it's so early still, Buck, but there's always like that surprise one. you know? And I'm wondering who that would be this year without knowing how these playoffs are going to shake and the rest of the season. But, what about the Bills? What if something goes down there? What about the Ravens? They'll say, up and down, they're never going to move on from John. You never know. We've seen it happen. Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Sometimes you just wear out your welcome. Sometimes everybody just needs a change and everyone's better off. And now, Philly's not better off right now. Philly is going through it right now.
Which is nonsense. Shame on them.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're going to be okay.
They're so annoying. They are the couple that fight just to make up. The drama is exhausting. I've been around them a lot this year. I talked to a lot of those people there. I love the talent they have. I love what they're about. They are tough. They're petty. They're all of it. They make it entertaining. But when Lane Johnson's saying the things he's saying and he's like the guy there, I start freaking out a little. Like, man, this may not be fixable. So we'll see. And I mean, obviously you guys follow AJ Brown still, I'm sure, just to see how his life's been going. And it went well.
Just morbid curiosity at this point on our end.
Yeah, I know.
And Calvin Ridley has more yards.
I love seeing AJ, by the way. It's just like, I think it's probably
him.
because we go back to, do you know what's funny? I was mentioning this to him the other day. So when I was pregnant with Mikey, my first, I was really, you guys remember because you were around me, like I wasn't like showing it off. I don't know if you show off a pregnancy, but I was so weird about like putting it out there. But AJ saw my belly and was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't eat Chipotle. I'm with child. And he was more excited than anyone in my life that I was pregnant. And he didn't even really know me. And I remember at that moment thinking like, oh wait, maybe I should just get over this whole fear of being a woman on the sideline with a big belly. Like nobody cares. And so I always appreciated that with him, and which is probably why I root for him, and I always hope for nothing but health and success for him. But yeah, he's not happy. But as somebody said to me in football a few weeks ago, which I know you guys saw because I saw you tweet it, it could be worse, AJ. You could be with the Titans.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's.
I wish I could tell you who told me that, but I can't.
It's okay. It's the story of our lives. Everybody's saying it, Dianna. Somebody just said it to you to publish. Dianna Russini of The Athletic, the Scoop City podcast. Hell, you can see her on television, too. Fox. She was doing it's First Things First, the name of the show you were on yesterday?
Yeah.
First
I was
Things
on
First,
FS1 doing a little First Things First, little Colin Cowherd. I'm kind of doing a lot, but I like it. It's been good. But the thing that I'm most proud of, that I love the most, and I know you read it, so thank you, on my What I'm Hearing Saturday morning, if you subscribe to The Athletic, it is basically everything I'm hearing and reporting pretty much 24 hours before the game. So it's like a really good precursor to all the action. You
can sign up for that in your on The Athletic, and it will be in your inbox every Saturday morning. It is must read as you get ready for the NFL weekend. Thank you as always for the time, Diane. I know you're busy. It's good to see you.
I am wishing I would be there on Sunday. Imagine if Vrabel came out with a cowboy hat, like just did the whole thing again.
Does he get booed or cheered by Titans fans?
That's a good question.
Oh, cheered. Absolutely cheered. I would be shocked if there are boos. Why would they boo him? He didn't leave because he wanted to. He got fired.
It wasn't great at the end.
I also think that, well, it wasn't good. But I also think the way this week went it's more of a direct shot at the Titans that they're going to clap him, not because they love him so much,
Yeah.
like, kind of
relatable.
What do you Yeah, I will be following along your tweets, so you can. I'm sure you guys are going to be all over it. In terms of what you're going to be observing. It's going to rain, I heard. Is that true?
It looked 62 degrees last I saw. I haven't seen the forecast exactly, but if it gets sloppy, that just adds to the intrigue of all of it. Certainly, it's going to be an interesting game.
This could you guys covered Vrabel's Titans long enough to know these are the kind of games they lose. So we'll see.
That's about the only thing that Titans fans are banking on at this point. I appreciate you taking some time, Dianna. Thank you for stopping by.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Love you, Dianna.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Robert's only appearance is to swoop down like Amy Adams Strunk out of the sky and say, I love